I'm here to do a cookbook review. Long time no see. The struggle is real. I'm looking at one baby that's not sleeping, and then I've got 2 more that are about to wake up, and I just got the 4th down. And when I tell you I don't have time to make videos anymore, that's just a fact of life. So I was like, if I'm gonna do it, it's now or never, despite this one crawling around in her room for 2 hours now and not sleeping. Something that I wanted to start doing other than just hauling cookbooks is to tell you whether or not I use them, whether or not they're worth the purchase. The Pioneer Woman cookbooks, the way she lays things out, there's always a ton of pictures and step-by-step pictures. I love that about her cookbooks. The first recipe that I'm going to talk about is one that I used to make all the time when I didn't have my Nespresso. I use Bustelo, as she does also. I will link all of these recipes I believe are in her blog. This recipe started my sweetened condensed milk addiction in coffee. And if your coffee is bitter, you really have to have a nice, smooth tasting coffee for the sweetened condensed milk to complement it. And you make your own coffee anyway. I highly suggest the way that she does it here. Next recipe I made are these Muffin Melts. I do like these, but I will not make them with the hard-boiled eggs next time. This is an English muffin sandwich. It's more like it's kind of like an egg salad sandwich in a breakfasty type way, and there are hard-boiled eggs, which I was not a fan of. I'll probably do it without the hard-boiled eggs next time because it was really good. I just didn't like the hard-boiled eggs. I forgot what I was talking about. I just had to yell at a child. So I do like these, but I will not make them with the hard-boiled egg next time. I like how they're make ahead. You make the concoction ahead the day prior, and then you can just spread them on the English muffins and pop them in the oven the next day. These sweet orange rolls, I actually have a whole entire video about me making these, and I do think that they would be delicious if you made them properly. I didn't have them all tightly compacted in a pie dish. They sort of spread out, but the flavor was good. Oh my gosh, I obviously did something terribly wrong. They're just falling right apart. I don't know what I did. I don't know how to fix it. They lost a lot of their juices, and I tried to scoop it back on top of them, but the flavor is delicious. I love orange. I think that it would be really good if I added cream cheese. The Pioneer Woman has several different versions of cinnamon rolls, if you will. Next, I did the lemon blueberry pancakes, which were absolutely divine, but I'm the only one that likes blueberries in my pancakes. My kids say that the pancakes have owies, so they wouldn't even try them, but they were delicious, and if your family eats that kind of thing, I highly recommend. This breakfast bread pudding tasted so good. We had company here, and I had rave reviews. For me, I don't know if it was the heavy cream that made it seem slimy. There was a texture going on in there that made me feel like I was eating uncooked egg. So much so that I recooked a portion of it, and then the next day when I heated it in the microwave, I heated it just to be sure, extra, to make sure the eggs were cooked. But there was still this creamy substance, which was obviously the heavy cream, that I just couldn't quite get behind because it just made me feel like I was eating an uncooked egg. But the flavor was amazing. I'm trying so hard to make this a good video, and if it seems half-assed, that's because it is, because I'm so annoyed at my kid for not sleeping right now. I'm just staring at her like mess around, and she already woke up the baby, so I'm a little irritated. Poor quiche. If you like quiche, you'd probably love this. I loved the flavor of this, but I talked about this on my Instagram, how I guess I'm just really not a fan of quiche. I've tried it multiple times, and it's just something about the texture. It's very dense and heavy, so when I take a bite, it feels like I'm eating like 8 pounds of heavy eggs in one bite instead of like a light, fluffy scramble. It's very dense feeling, and I'm just not a fan. But the flavor was amazing. So if you like quiche, I highly recommend trying this. This is one that I wanted to try, but the company left before I could get to it. And I know that no one in my house would eat this except for me, but this is one I really want to try. When I did try them were the Sloppy Joes. But I made this when I lived in San Diego, and I really love the Sloppy Joes. Every single recipe I made has amazing flavor. The things that deterred me were more of like textural issues. If you know you like quiche, and if you know you don't have a problem with bread pudding, these are some of the best recipes consistently I've pulled out recipes, and they're all very easy. Look how few the ingredients are. This is the drip beef we tried, and I'm not a fan of pepperoncinis because they are kind of spicy. The caramelized onions were what put this over the top. This drip beef, because of the caramelized onions, this was one of the most amazing, forget the regular au jus French dip. Like, this was out of this world. Outstanding, love that. One of my favorite recipes was the chicken parmesan. Super easy, again. The sauce is just a can of crushed tomato and wine, basically. This recipe, I've already sent the link to several people because it's one of the best chicken parmesan recipes I've ever had. So good. Loved the sauce. Oh, the baby's waking up. Way to go, JL. You woke up the baby. Probably everyone's favorite, I like this too, was this ribeye steak. The blue cheese sauce was absolutely incredible. It smelled amazing when you walked in the house. It was just like, how could something so simple be so divine? And it really is just, these are good, hearty, stick to your ribs, fill you up, comfort food meals, and I'm just a super huge fan of this kind of cuisine. Then we did the twice baked new potatoes. These were delicious. A little time consuming, but so, so good. Then on my Instagram, I went over and on about it. This was one of my favorite recipes. I ate this as a meal. I ended up almost scalding the roof of my mouth because I couldn't stop eating it. Even my kids ate it. It was just so, oh my gosh, this is so good. I checked on it. I think I had maybe 10 minutes to go in the cooking time, and I was like, why is it so runny still? Did I not add enough cornstarch or whatever it was? And cornstarch was the thickening agent. Flour was the thickening agent. And I didn't know if I had incorporated enough, but sure enough, by the time her suggested cooking time was reached, it came together and it was so good. Then the other thing that I tried last night, I was gonna try these with the Rhodes frozen. I've never made ready-made dinner rolls like this ever in my life. So when I pulled out the Rhodes, they said they needed to thaw for 2 hours, which I wasn't about to do. So I just ended up using regular rolls, Sister Schubert's frozen rolls. And I put the rosemary and butter on top of those. If you like rosemary, I'm not a fan, but I keep trying it, like I said, and they were delicious. I have never thought about just sprinkling an herb, and even, I know this because my kids, they were like, what is that green stuff? So I just tried to flick off the rosemary, but you could still taste it. Cooking an herb, a fresh herb right on top of the roll imparts the flavor as if it were in the dough. So my kids still wouldn't eat the rolls because they didn't like the taste of the rosemary. The sections of this cookbook, she's got an index, canning, sweets, sides, supper, pasta and pizza, starters, party food and drinks, soups, lunch, breakfast. I would have tried the soups, but nobody eats soups in this house but me. Well, the kids will eat the star noodles in the Campbell soup can, but that's all they'll do. This is the first Pioneer Woman cookbook I've really used, and I ended up buying, I think I got all of them now. I ended up buying 4 more cookbooks? Because I could not get over how amazing this was. And she's got a new cookbook coming out in October. It's supposed to be like super easy. She cuts down a lot of the steps and makes really easy recipes, and so of course I'm here for that. This stage of my life, it's just nearly impossible to do anything. All right, so that's my review of the Pioneer Woman cookbook. This one is called Food from My Frontier. They've all got a different title. I always get them confused, but she's holding a jade bowl. That's how I know which one I've got here. This quickly became one of my favorite cookbooks. I'm going to review bad ones also, so stay tuned for that. But one that ended up being a really great cookbook is this here. And I hope you enjoy.